Princess Lyra stood at the balcony of the Crystal Palace, her translucent blue skin catching the light of the twin moons. The royal physician's words still echoed in her mind. Biologically incompatible, infertile, no heir possible. 20 noble. Suitors over 5 years, and not a single conception. The Voxian royal bloodline would end with her. King Torek, her father, had raged for days. The continuation of their species' leadership depended on royal offspring. The Voxians had ruled peacefully for millennia, their unique biology granting them extended lifespans and telepathic abilities. These traits had grown stronger through selective royal breeding, but now seemed to be their downfall. "Your Highness," a voice called from behind her. "The diplomatic party from Earth has arrived." Lyra composed herself. The humans were a relatively new species to join the Galactic Consortium, having proved themselves resourceful despite their primitive technology. This exchange program was meant to strengthen alliances. The delegation entered the throne room, and Lyra immediately noticed one human standing apart from the others, not physically imposing like some of his companions, but carrying himself with quiet confidence. "Dr. Max Reed, xenobiologist and cultural liaison," announced the attendant. Max bowed, his dark eyes meeting Lyra's. "Princess, it's an honor to meet you." Something in his gaze made Lyra pause. Unlike the other aliens she'd encountered, who always seemed discomfited by Voxian appearance, Max looked at her with genuine curiosity. Later, during the diplomatic reception, Max approached her again. "I've studied Voxian culture for years," he said, "but nothing compares to experiencing it firsthand." "And what do you think of our world?" Lyra asked. "Beautiful, but I sense great sadness beneath the surface." His perceptiveness surprised her. "You're quite observant for a human. My species might lack telepathy, but we've developed other ways of understanding." King Torek interrupted their conversation. "Princess, a word." He guided her away from the human. "Remember your position. These humans are barely space-capable. Their presence here is merely political." Lyra nodded dutifully, but found her gaze returning to Max throughout the evening. The following day, the royal advisor informed Lyra that she would be working closely with the human delegation on cultural exchange projects. Specifically, she would collaborate with Dr. Reed. "You want me to be a tour guide?" she asked incredulously. "You are the face of our world," the advisor replied, "and unlike most Voxians, you've shown interest in human culture. Additionally," he hesitated, "the king believes keeping you occupied will prevent further speculation about your condition." Lyra understood. She was a failure to her species, unable to fulfill her primary purpose. Now she would be relegated to diplomatic busywork with a primitive species. When she met Max in the palace gardens the next day, her mood was dark. But his enthusiasm for Voxian botany was infectious. He asked intelligent questions about their ecosystem, their history, their beliefs. "Humans have a saying," Max told her as they walked beneath the phosphorescent trees. "When one door closes, another opens." "What does that mean?" Lyra asked. "It means that when something seems impossible, life has a way of offering unexpected alternatives." Lyra considered his words, watching this strange human, who seemed so at ease in her alien world. "Perhaps," she said quietly, "you could teach me about human alternatives." The Royal Council monitored Princess Lyra's time with the human diplomat with suspicion. Voxians had always been cautious about interspecies relations, believing their biology superior. But King Torek saw an opportunity for political leverage, a distraction from the looming crisis of succession. For Max Reed, each day with Lyra revealed new wonders about Voxian culture. Their species were remarkably similar in base genetic structure, despite obvious differences. Voxians possessed translucent skin that shifted hues with their emotions, a third inner eyelid, and neural structures that allowed limited telepathic communication. Yet their internal biology was surprisingly compatible with human physiology. "Your species evolved on a planet very similar to Earth," Max noted one afternoon while they reviewed biological archives. "Parallel evolution at its finest." Lyra's skin flushed violet, curiosity. "Is that why you can consume our food without illness?" "Partly. The consortium registered 17 sentient species as Type B compatible, similar enough to share resources, but different enough that reproduction is impossible. Lyra's coloration shifted to a deep blue. Sadness. Max had learned to read her emotions through these subtle color changes better than most Voxians, who relied on telepathy. "That bothers you?" he asked gently. "Reproduction is everything to my people," she admitted, "especially for royalty. My inability to conceive an heir has made me worthless." Max frowned. "That's absurd. Your intelligence, your leadership skills, mean nothing without continuing the royal line," she interrupted. "Our monarchy isn't symbolic. Our telepathic abilities are strongest in the royal bloodline. Without an heir, our species loses its connection to our ancestors." Max considered this. "On Earth, we've discovered that genetic diversity strengthens species. Perhaps Voxian royalty has become too genetically similar through generations of selective breeding." Lyra's skin flashed angry red before settling. "Such suggestions are treasonous here." "I apologize," Max said. "Scientific curiosity is a human trait that sometimes overrides diplomacy." Their conversation shifted to safer topics, but Max noticed Lyra watching him differently afterward. The professional boundary between them began to blur as weeks passed. They shared meals, exchanged stories of their worlds, and gradually developed a friendship unusual between their species. One evening, while showing Max the royal archives, Lyra's hand brushed against his, causing her skin to pulse with brilliant pink, an emotion Max hadn't seen before. "What does that color mean?" he asked. "Nothing," she said quickly, withdrawing her hand. A momentary neural response. But later that night, Max researched Voxian emotional spectrums in the diplomatic database. Pink indicated attraction, forbidden between species. The following day, Lyra seemed distant. "The Council feels our cultural exchange has been extensive enough," she said formally. "You'll be reassigned to work with our scientific division." "Did I offend you somehow?" Max asked. "No," she insisted, her skin betraying her with ripples of conflicting colors. "It's simply protocol." But when Max turned to leave, she called after him. "Humans have shorter lifespans than Voxians," she said suddenly. "Yes, about 1/3 of yours." "Then you understand urgency better than we do," she said. "Would you accompany me to the bioluminescent forests tonight? There's a cultural phenomenon I believe would interest you." Max recognized the invitation for what it was. "I would be honored, Princess." As they walked away from the palace under cover of darkness, both understood they were crossing boundaries their respective authorities would forbid. The bioluminescent forest hummed with life as Max and Lyra walked deeper into its glowing embrace. Enormous fungi cast blue light across the path, and flying creatures with translucent wings darted between phosphorescent trees. Far from the palace's watchful eyes, Lyra's formal demeanor dissolved. "In ancient times," she explained, "Voxians would come to these forests to form pair bonds away from political interference. The chemicals released by these life forms enhance our telepathic abilities." Max felt a tingling sensation as they ventured further. "I can almost feel something, like a whisper at the edge of my consciousness." Lyra's skin shifted to a surprised yellow. "That should be impossible. Humans don't possess the neural pathways for telepathy." "Maybe we have dormant capabilities," Max suggested. "Or maybe it's just the wonder of being here with you." Her color deepened to that pink hue again. Attraction. This time she didn't try to hide it. "I've never met anyone like you," she admitted. "You see me as more than my royal function." "Because you are more," Max said simply. In the heart of the forest, surrounded by ancient Voxian symbols etched into luminous bark, they shared their first kiss. Lyra's skin blazed with colors Max had never seen, complex emotions beyond translation. Their relationship blossomed in secret over the following months. The diplomatic mission extended as human-Voxian relations strengthened. If palace officials suspected impropriety, they remained silent, likely believing nothing could come of such an impossible pairing. 3 months later, Lyra summoned Max to her private quarters, her skin cycling through colors of anxiety, joy, and fear. "Something impossible has happened," she whispered when they were alone. Max's scientific mind immediately understood. "You're pregnant," she nodded. The royal physicians confirmed it this morning. They're in shock, insisting it must be a mistake. But you've tried with 20 Voxian nobles and conceived with one human, she finished. They've verified the embryo is viable, a hybrid, first in our history. Max sat down heavily. How is this possible? Our species are classified as reproductively incompatible. The physicians believe it's something unique in human DNA, Lyra explained. Something adaptable that overcomes genetic barriers. Before they could discuss further, the chamber doors burst open. King Torek stormed in, flanked by royal guards. His skin pulsed dangerous red-black, rage beyond measure. "Abomination," he roared, pointing at Max. "You have contaminated the royal bloodline." The guards seized Max as the king approached his daughter. "Your shame is complete," he hissed. "Not only infertile with noble blood, but fertile with alien filth." "Father, listen to me," Lyra pleaded. "This could save our bloodline if human genetics are compatible." Silence. The king's telepathic fury radiated so strongly that even Max felt its impact. "The royal physicians will purge this mistake. Immediately." "No." Lyra's hand protectively covered her abdomen. "This child is the heir you demanded. No half-breed will ever sit on the Voxian throne," King Torek declared. "Remove the human to the diplomatic quarters. He is confined there until departure, and prepare the princess for the purification procedure." As the guards dragged Max away, he locked eyes with Lyra, determination passing between them. This was more than a personal fight now. It was a scientific breakthrough with implications for both their species. "This isn't over," Max called out. As the doors closed between them, Max paced his diplomatic quarters, now a luxurious prison. The guards outside would prevent any attempt to reach Lyra, but they couldn't stop his mind from working. His scientific training told him this unprecedented conception was no accident. It revealed something fundamental about both their species. He accessed the data terminal, still connected to the Voxian biological archives. The royal family had granted him extensive research privileges for his cultural work. Now he would use those privileges to save Lyra and their child. Max compiled genetic data from historical records, examining the royal bloodline across generations. Patterns emerged as he worked through the night. The telepathic abilities that made Voxian royalty special had strengthened over centuries of selective breeding. But at a cost. The door slid open. Max tensed, but it was Teln, a young royal physician who had assisted with Lyra's examinations. "I risk treason being here," Teln whispered, his skin mottled with anxiety. "But there's something wrong about the king's orders. The pregnancy is healthy," Max said. "There's no medical reason to terminate it. Correct, and Princess Lyra is fighting the procedure. She's invoked ancient rites requiring a 3-day contemplation period before any royal medical intervention." "That gives us time," Max said. "I've discovered something crucial about Voxian royal genetics." He showed Teln the data. With each generation, the royal family had become more telepathically powerful, but less reproductively compatible with other Voxians. The princess wasn't infertile, she was evolutionarily divergent from her own species. "This explains everything." Teln's skin pulsed with scientific excitement. "But why compatibility with humans?" "Our genetic adaptability," Max explained. "Earth species evolved to survive rapidly changing conditions. Human DNA contains remarkable repair mechanisms. When combined with Voxian royal genetics, these mechanisms overcome the compatibility barriers." "The king must hear this," Teln insisted. "He won't listen," Max countered. "This isn't just about biology, it's about power. Acknowledging human compatibility undermines generations of Voxian superiority beliefs." Max formulated a plan. "I need to reach the princess. If we can present this evidence to the Royal Scientific Council, they might overrule the king on biological preservation grounds." Teln hesitated. "Impossible. The princess is under guard in the Royal Medical Wing." "Then we bring the evidence to her," Max said. "Can you transfer this data to the Medical Wing systems?" "Possibly," Teln admitted. "But the king has ordered all your research purged from Voxian archives. Then we must hurry." While Teln created a distraction in the diplomatic wing, Max used his security credentials not yet revoked, to access the communication system. He contacted the human delegation, encoding his genetic findings in an official transmission. "If anything happens to me," he told his human colleagues, "this information must reach the Galactic Consortium. It's vital to human-Voxian relations." That evening, as Max prepared a more desperate escape attempt, his quarters opened again. This time it was Lyra herself, accompanied by Teln and another physician whose skin showed colors of righteous indignation. "The royal physicians have examined your research," Lyra said, her voice strong despite her ordeal. "They confirm your findings." "The king still insists on termination," Teln added, "but half the medical council now refuses to perform the procedure." "We don't have much time," Max said, taking Lyra's hands. "Does the king know you're here?" "No. But he will soon. I need to show you something." She placed his hand on her abdomen. Through her translucent skin, Max could see a faint glow, their child already exhibiting bioluminescent properties. "The hybrid is developing both human adaptive traits and Voxian telepathic capabilities," the other physician explained, "potentially stronger than any royal before. That's why the king fears it," Lyra said, "not just because of human blood, but because this child could be more powerful than him." News of the princess's pregnancy spread through the palace despite the king's efforts to suppress it. Voxian guards with shifting loyalties whispered about the human who had accomplished what 20 noble suitors could not. Scientific staff debated the implications for their species' future. The royal council remained divided, with elder members supporting the king while younger voices argued for embracing this biological breakthrough. Lyra was returned to her chambers, now heavily guarded. Max was permitted limited contact, officially, to consult on the princess's condition. In reality, they used these sessions to plan their next move. "My father has announced a royal address in 2 days," Lyra told Max during one such meeting. "He's going to declare that I've suffered a natural miscarriage. The public will be told the hybrid was non-viable." "But the pregnancy is healthy," Max protested. "Exactly. After announcing the miscarriage, he plans to have both of us removed. You'll be sent back to Earth with diplomatic accusations, and I'll be exiled to the sanctuary moons." Teln, who had become their most trusted ally, nodded grimly. "The king has already ordered the royal transport prepared. Once you're both gone, no one can dispute his version of events." Max paced the room, thinking rapidly. "We need to reach the public directly. The Voxian people deserve to know that this child could save the royal lineage." "Impossible," Teln said. "All communications are monitored. Any broadcast would be intercepted." "Then we don't broadcast," Lyra said, her skin rippling with determination. "We appear in person at the Festival of Light. The annual celebration would take place the night before the king's address. Thousands of Voxians would gather in the Crystal Plaza to commemorate their ancient connection to the stars." "The king will never allow you to attend," Max pointed out. "He won't have a choice," Lyra countered. "As princess, my presence is ceremonially required. To prevent me from attending would itself cause the scandal he's trying to avoid." Their plan took shape. Max contacted the human delegation, requesting their presence at the festival as cultural observers. Meanwhile, Lyra convinced the royal physicians to document the hybrid embryo's development, creating irrefutable evidence of its viability. The night before the festival, Max received an unexpected visitor, Bren, the royal security chief. "I know what you're planning," Bren said without preamble, his skin a neutral gray that revealed nothing. Max maintained his composure. "I'm not sure what you mean." "The king has ordered your arrest tomorrow morning. Charges of biological espionage. You'll be executed before the festival begins." Max felt cold fear spread through him. "Why are you telling me this?" Bren's skin shifted to a complex pattern of blues and greens, conflict and resolution. "My loyalty is to the Voxian throne, not to King Torek himself. If your hybrid truly carries royal telepathic abilities, my duty is to protect that lineage." "You'll help us?" Max asked cautiously. "I will ensure your safe passage to the festival. What happens there depends on how the people respond." As Brenny departed, Max sent an urgent message to Lyra through their secret channel. The timeline had accelerated. They would need to act tonight. Hours later, as the palace slept, Teln arrived with medical transport authorization. "The princess awaits at the south observation deck. We must hurry." Moving through shadow-filled corridors, Max couldn't help but appreciate the irony. He had come to this planet to study alien culture. Now he was fighting to become part of it forever, tied by something more profound than diplomatic agreements, a child who would bridge two worlds. When they reached Lyra, her skin glowed with a steady amber light, the color of resolve. "Ready?" Max nodded, taking her hand. "Always." As they boarded the medical transport, Max wondered what Earth's leaders would think of this diplomatic incident. Then he realized it didn't matter. Some connections transcended politics. Some truths demanded to be revealed, regardless of protocol. Their small vessel lifted off into the night, heading toward the ancient temple, where preparations for the Festival of Light were already underway. The Festival of Light transformed the capital city into a spectacle of illumination. Millions of bioluminescent creatures were released into the night sky, their gentle glow creating rippling curtains of color above the crystal plaza. Voxians from every province gathered below, their translucent skin reflecting the lights above. Max, Lyra, and their small group of allies moved through underground passages beneath the ancient temple. According to tradition, the royal family would emerge from these sacred tunnels at midnight, symbolizing the emergence of their ancestors from the stars. "The king and royal guard will be waiting at the main ceremonial platform," Bren explained, leading them through the labyrinth. "But there's a secondary emergence point, used in historical times when multiple royal families ruled." "Won't it be guarded?" Max asked. "The old ways are forgotten by most," Bren replied, "but not by those of us charged with protecting all royal traditions, not just the convenient ones." They reached a sealed stone doorway, covered in ancient Voxian script. Teln approached with reverence, placing his hand on the markings. "The inscription speaks of renewal," he translated. "When the line grows thin, new stars shall strengthen the sky." Our ancestors perhaps understood what might one day be necessary. The door recognized Lyra's royal biosignature and slid open, revealing a narrow stairway leading upward. The sound of the festival, music and thousands of voices filtered down from above. "Once we appear," Lyra said, turning to Max, "there's no turning back. My father will consider this highest treason." "Your father was willing to end your pregnancy and exile you," Max reminded her. "He's already betrayed his duty to your people by denying them a viable royal heir." Lyra nodded, her skin shimmering with determination. "Then let's rewrite Voxian history." They ascended into the heart of the celebration. The unexpected appearance of the princess from the forgotten emergence point created immediate sensation. Festival-goers turned in astonishment, conversations halting mid-sentence. "The Princess of Vox!" someone shouted, and the cry was taken up throughout the plaza. Lyra stepped onto a raised platform, her royal garments glowing with embedded bioluminescence. The ceremonial attire had been designed to highlight her form, including the subtle swell of her abdomen, visible through her translucent skin. "People of Vox," her voice rang out, amplified by the plaza's natural acoustics. "I come before you, bearing news of our future." A commotion erupted across the plaza as King Torek and his guards emerged from the main ceremonial doorway. The king's skin flashed dangerous patterns of rage when he spotted his daughter. "For generations," Lyra continued, her voice steady despite her father's approach, "we have been told our royal line grows stronger through selective breeding. Yet I stand before you, declared infertile after 20 noble suitors failed to produce an heir." Murmurs spread through the crowd. The princess's condition had been secret, but rumors had circulated. "But I am not infertile," she declared. "I carry within me the next ruler of Vox." The king reached the edge of the crowd, his guards pushing through the stunned onlookers. "The royal physicians have confirmed that this child possesses the telepathic signatures of our ancestors," Lyra continued, "stronger than any recorded in generations." "This is treason," King Torek shouted, finally breaking through to the central plaza. "The princess suffers delusions. There is no viable heir." "Then explain this," Teln called out, activating a holographic display. The medical scans appeared above the plaza, irrefutable. Evidence of the developing hybrid embryo, its neural pathways already showing the distinctive patterns of Voxian telepathy. Lyra's skin shifted to reveal more of the life growing within her. "My child's father is human," she said, as Max stepped forward to stand beside her. "His species possesses genetic adaptability that complements our royal bloodline, reversing generations of declining fertility." The crowd's reaction was mixed. Shock, disbelief, curiosity, but no outrage. The Voxian people had watched their ruling family shrink over generations, their numbers dwindling despite technological advances. "This is abomination," the king roared, his guards surrounding the platform. "Seize them both!" "No," a voice called from the crowd. An elderly Voxian stepped forward, her skin the deep purple of wisdom. "I was royal midwife for 3 generations. I have watched our births decrease, while our rulers insisted nothing was wrong. If the princess carries a viable heir, our laws are clear. The succession must be protected." Others joined her, forming a protective circle around Lyra and Max. Not everyone supported them, but enough Voxians recognized the importance of what was happening. In the standoff that followed, Lyra made her final appeal. "Father, our family, has ruled justly for millennia, but we face extinction through our own rigid traditions. This child represents not our end, but our adaptation, the very quality that has allowed life throughout the galaxy to survive." As dawn broke over the Crystal City, the Festival of Light concluded with its people divided but thoughtful. The question of succession would not be resolved in a single night, but neither could it be silenced again. 6 months later, the Royal Medical Chamber hummed with tense anticipation. Outside, the capital city was filled with Voxians and humans alike, awaiting news of the birth. Diplomatic vessels from 12 consortium worlds orbited the planet, their representatives present for what many now recognized as a historic moment. Inside the chamber, Lyra gripped Max's hand as contractions intensified. The hybrid pregnancy had progressed remarkably well, though not without complications that required both human and Voxian medical expertise. A team of physicians from both worlds monitored every detail. "One more push," encouraged the head royal physician, whose initial skepticism had transformed into dedicated care over the months. With a final effort, Lyra delivered their child into a waiting world. The newborn's first cry echoed through the chamber, strong and clear. "Heir Prince," announced the physician, holding up the child for all to see. The hybrid baby had pale blue translucent skin that shifted with his emotions, but with a sturdier human-like musculature beneath. His eyes were human in appearance, but when he opened them, they revealed the distinctive luminous quality of Voxian royalty. "He's perfect," Lyra whispered, her skin glowing with maternal joy as she cradled their son. "Prince Arden," Max said, using the name they had chosen together, simple enough for human tongues but with resonance in Voxian tradition. King Torek, who had maintained a cold distance throughout the pregnancy, stood at the chamber's threshold. The king had not reconciled with his daughter, but neither had he continued his opposition. Political reality had forced a reluctant acceptance when the consortium formally recognized the importance of the first viable human-Voxian hybrid. Now, seeing his grandson for the first time, something shifted in the king's expression. He approached, cautiously, his skin showing conflicted colors. "The telepathic signature is strong," he said finally, his tone mixture of surprise and reluctant approval. "Stronger than any royal birth in my lifetime. Would you like to hold your grandson, father?" Lyra asked, extending the child. After a moment's hesitation, King Torek accepted the infant. As he held Prince Arden, the baby's skin synchronized, briefly with the king's, a profound telepathic connection visible to all. "He carries our ancestral memories," the king acknowledged, his voice softening, "and something new as well." In the weeks that followed, Prince Arden's birth transformed interspecies relations throughout the consortium. Human genetic material became recognized as uniquely valuable, not just for Voxians, but potentially for other species facing reproductive challenges. Earth, once considered a minor consortium member, gained new diplomatic significance. The formal naming ceremony took place in the Crystal Plaza, where Lyra had made her stand months earlier. Representatives from 28 worlds attended, the largest gathering in Voxian history. King Torek, performing his ceremonial duty, raised Prince Arden before the assembled dignitaries. I present Arden, Crown Prince of Vox, first of the new lineage. The crowd erupted in celebration, but fell silent when the king continued unexpectedly. For millennia, we Voxians believed our path to greatness lay in isolation and purity. We were wrong. This child represents our future, not diminished by outside influence, but strengthened by it. The king turned to Max, who stood beside Lyra, on the royal platform. The human species has given our world its greatest gift, continuation. In their adaptability, their genetic resilience and their willingness to connect across differences, humans have demonstrated qualities we would be wise to embrace. The consortium representatives nodded in agreement. Many worlds had observed humanity's rapid advancement with curiosity or concern. Now they saw the evolutionary advantages of human adaptability in a new light. As the ceremony concluded, Max and Lyra stood together with their son, bridging 2 worlds and countless stars. "Do you think he'll be accepted?" Max asked quietly, watching the diverse crowd. "He already is," Lyra replied, "and not just as my heir, but as living proof that differences can become strengths." Above them, a shower of bioluminescent creatures was released into the night sky, a traditional blessing for royal births. As the lights danced overhead, Prince Arden reached toward them, his tiny hand glowing with both human determination and Voxian magic. The universe had many sentient species, each with unique gifts, but humans had something special, the ability to connect, adapt, and thrive alongside others, turning apparent incompatibilities into new possibilities. It wasn't just biology that made humans remarkable. It was their infinite capacity to belong anywhere they chose to call home.